Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Fill Your Boots podcast. Today I'm joined by Pete Edwards. We used to work together with USN, and his content is phenomenal. If you guys don't follow him on Instagram, TikTok, I literally love it. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It is an honor to be here. This is my first podcast actually, so I'm super
No
excited.
way.
Got some awesome topics to talk about. So yeah, how are you doing today though? What's going on in the life?
I'm good. What's going on in the life? I don't know. Same old, same old.
Nothing.
Training, PTing, coaching, going to sleep, doing it all over again.
The standard coach life. Everything going
I
on.
know. We're both
It
the
feels like
same, aren't we? We were having this conversation just beforehand, how like when we're online coaching, we can very easily go for a long period of time without speaking to an actual like human being in real life. So
yeah, it's interesting. Online it looks very social. It looks like you're always with people, but you're really
yeah,
not. A lot of the time, you are behind a laptop
yeah,
editing and just messaging people. But it's
yeah.
good though. We enjoy it, so we can't complain.
We do enjoy it. We can't complain. So you very much do the same kind of job as me. A little bit of PTing, lots of online stuff, lots of content creation, lots of time spent on social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's good. I'm trying to push the content stuff a little bit more now, and take it like a little bit
Mm,
more seriously. I think everyone that starts, they always just say that they post for fun, and I think if you can keep it fun and
yeah,
make it your career, it's just like the best case scenario.
absolutely.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to do just now. So it's doing
No,
all
you
right.
absolutely are as well. And the fact that you're utilizing your personality, which is you're obviously very humorous, like it comes across so well. Like you're not trying to be anyone else, you're literally just doing you. And honestly, I think that's the best thing that you can do.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think it takes a while to build that because everyone has their own personality. But I think
Mm,
for it to actually come out on camera, it just takes a little bit of time.
mm.
I go back to my older videos and I cringe myself out just watching them. I cringe so badly. I'm doing just yeah, just if you scroll back in any of my socials, I purposely don't delete them for that reason, just to give me that
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, okay, your camera confidence has got better and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, at the end of the day, are we allowed to swear? By the way, is this
Yeah,
like
you can swear, that's fine.
at the end of the day? Fuck it, fuck it. Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares?
Exactly. It's funny like
Who
social
cares? But
media like
yeah,
that with your personality because I don't know why I'm outing myself like this, but I had two people say to me recently, two separate people tell me I come across really stuck
right.
up on social media, and I was like, oh,
Stuck up.
yeah. I was like, oh, okay. I don't mean to. Like, they both said it as a
Stuck up.
backhanded compliment. There was like, you come across really stuck up, but you're not when you get to know you. I was like, I'm not sure how to take this.
What?
It
What?
was really
Wait,
weird.
who were these people? Who were the people that said you were stuck up?
I can't out them.
You
I
can't you
don't
can't
know.
say.
No, I can't say. I can't say because I do know that they
What are
they didn't mean it in that sort of way. But when you're just like, oh, okay, there's some food for thought.
they? It's an interesting compliment, but
It's
yeah,
really awkward.
yeah, I think something as well. What I find particularly with if I get any sort of you know hate, right? Any any hate, it's usually someone has judged a short piece of content, like let's say a 10 to
Yeah.
15 second clip, where I'm just like bashing the fuck out of glute bands, and they
Mhm.
think, oh, like I had one glute video go like semi viral before, and I was just bashing the fuck out of these glute bands, and I'm getting
Mm.
comments like, "Oh, it's no, I'd hate to train with him. Women must hate this guy," and I'm like, most of my clients are female. Like
Oh
you're
my
judging me on
God.
one like 10-second clip, whereas if you actually look at
Yeah.
all the stuff, there's like hours worth of stuff. So, I think a lot of times when people say negative things like that, they're judging it in such a short, like a skit
100%.
you're doing or something like that. Or, yeah.
Yeah. But
Listen,
also
do
the
you
funny
watch
thing is, sorry, you go.
on you go on you go
I just said the funny thing
was
is
a bit fun.
the reason why your video probably did go viral was because of all the hate that was coming at it. It's so strange. I've had a video do that before.
Yeah, it just like triggers people, and sometimes I notice it's stuff that I've not even meant to trigger people by,
Yeah, yeah,
like the most random video. Like one
yeah.
time, it was so weird. I don't know why. So I don't even do this now, but you know how like let's say when I was more kind of focused on, let's say, bodybuilding stuff, you know, bodybuilders weigh everything, right? All the time,
Mm-hmm.
especially in your shoot or whatever.
Yeah.
And the classic, like someone like weighing condiments. Now, I'm not really a fan of that, but let's say you were going to. I showed like a little trick one time. It was just like about weighing a condiment. If you actually set the scale to 0 with the
Yeah.
plate on it, and then just it was really simple, and it got
Mm.
like over 1 million views. And I was like, how? And half the comments though were just, "This motherfucker weighs his condiments. What
Yeah.
what a loser." I was just like, yo, I was just showing
Yeah.
something. I wasn't meaning any harm by it,
Oh
but
God. It's
yeah,
always the little things like that that go viral. It's funny. I did one last year and I think it's clocked up to something stupid like 22 million likes or something. Like honestly, it went far. And it was basically like it was a transformation post of my progress over the last year and my caption was literally saying if you're doing this naturally and you've been training for a long time, you're not going to see like a huge difference. And
yeah.
all the comments were like hating, going like, she looks the same and this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh my God. And it literally went to like 22 million views.
Wow, you must
I
have got a
know.
lot of. So when did that happen? That's a lot, especially for,
It's
you know. I noticed like for
ridiculous.
transformation stuff, if it does well on your coaching page,
Yeah.
like your business for the next couple months must have just went a bit
I
mental.
don't
Would I
even know.
guess that
It didn't
correctly?
really. I feel like it was just
No,
full of hate more than anything else.
really,
But
really,
yeah, it was
just
wild. It
what?
was wild.
That's
It's so
crazy.
funny.
I yeah. So you posted it, and then how long did it take for your video to go viral?
It clocked
Was it
up
one of those
pretty
just like,
quick. Yeah, it went pretty quick and
yeah,
it kept going for like probably a month or something. Like it
yeah.
must have been stuck in the explore feed or something, but it was going like violently wild. And I kept commenting back to people that were like, there's no change. I'd be like, read the caption, read the caption, read the caption.
Really?
And I just gave up doing it.
You have to just like, it's so hard though as well, because I always try to like, do you find it difficult to try not be like extremely witty to these
Oh yeah,
comments? You know,
100%.
part of you just wanting to like destroy someone in a comment, and you're like, you know what,
It's not worth
don't
it.
be that person. Yeah, don't be that person.
Mm,
It's not you. It's not you. Sometimes it's tough though, especially with just some idiots
yeah,
in the comments. But at the end of the
yeah.
day, if they made your video do well, then
I know, I was kind of
someone was.
just like, I'm just gonna let this be.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
someone's got value from it, with all those views. So it is what it is.
true,
Amazing stuff.
true, true.
I have um I have a random question for you,
Go
and
on.
so it's well, yeah, it's not fitness related. It's just a
Okay,
question that I want to ask because it's in my brain, and this is my first podcast, and I'm going to try and make this like a tradition of me asking people this.
okay.
It's kind of like on my Insta stories. I don't know if you'll have seen it before, but everyone hates it when I do this. So anyway, here's my question.
I'm
Right.
ready.
First of all, do you like iced lattes?
No.
Are you an iced latte? You don't?
Straight up. No, I actually don't.
Yeah, no.
No, I feel
Okay, do you
like
like coffee?
I like coffee, but I feel like coffee should be hot, personally.
Okay, well, let's use a coffee example. So let's say you have a cup
Okay.
of coffee, a nice little
Mhm.
cappuccino just chilling next to you, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You've got the cappuccino and you drink it, and that's it, okay? When you finish it, do you either A, fill the cup up again with water, just a little bit, and drink it, or do you bin it?
No. No, bin it.
You bin it. Okay,
Yeah.
no worries. No worries.
No worries. Why? Who fills that up with water again? That's stressful.
Me. That's
Really? Why?
yeah. So the iced latte example is the perfect one. So you finish an iced latte and you've got this
Yeah.
lovely little bit of golden elixir at the bottom of the cup, and then you just add a little bit of water in it. And I'm telling you, best
It's
part
like
of the drink
rain.
just makes your day.
Oh,
But yeah,
maybe
so
I
I
need to
started sharing
try.
this. I started sharing it, and people are just like, "Oh, dirty water! How can you drink that?" I'm just like, "It's so good. You need to try it."
Maybe I'll try it. I'll report back. I'll try. I feel like I just was the
Yeah,
worst person for you to ask that question to. So I'm just like,
yeah.
no, I don't like iced coffee.
To be fair, you are the only person I know that doesn't like iced coffee, but
No.
okay, it's fine. It's fine. We
No,
respect
it's
it.
just it's wrong for some reason, and I can't even pinpoint why. I just need the coffee to be hot.
Fair, fair.
I don't
I've got
know.
this thing as well. Like I don't know if you have this. This is like it's such like a gym bro lifter thing. So I
Yeah.
either for my day, I either have 1 to 2 coffees. And you
Hmm.
know us, we're trying to keep on top of our health, try to like maximize our recovery, not let it affect our sleep. I have to decide, okay, do I pick 1 to 2 delicious coffees a day, or do I have one crazy pre-workout?
Yeah.
And it's like you're trying to you're trying to like balance it.
Yeah, I have
Is
to
that a me
admit.
thing or is that...
Yeah, no. It is, yeah, I get that. I have to admit, I'm this person, and I always say to my clients, try not to have caffeine for like a couple of hours when you wake up in the morning, because we know that's the healthy thing to do.
Yeah,
I'm the crackhead
yeah,
that's
yeah,
in the car half an hour after waking up, smashing my pre-workout on the way to the gym at 6
yeah,
a.m. So, like, yeah, that's
yeah.
me.
Yeah, it does on an empty stomach though. It does hit different. Like it does just
It literally goes
it
straight
lights a
to my
fire.
face. And And it's one of those things as well, like I can know all the science behind it, and I know the only active ingredient in that pre-workout is caffeine, but equally I want the pre-workout, and I've accepted that it's largely placebo effect, but I want it anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot of people associate, the beta alanine tingle. They just
Yeah.
associate that with it's working, it's kicking in.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, because I notice if I've tried pre-workouts before that don't have that, and
Mm,
I guess you still get more energy, but I feel when you feel the tingle, it just
yeah.
you're like, oh, it's what I'm alive now. I can lift heavy
Yeah.
things. It's crazy.
It's
It's
such a
crazy.
weird
Um,
association as well, isn't it? Because we know for a fact that like, that doesn't do anything other than make you tingle in this like
yeah,
context. So like, yeah, it's
yeah.
weird.
Like the supplement companies are just like, there was one. I've got an interesting story about that. So when I was a student, I I didn't want to buy like an expensive tub of pre-workout at the time. So what I
Mm.
done was I would buy like the individual ingredients and have like my weighing
Yeah.
scales. If you walk into my room, I thought I was doing something illegal, and I was weighing out. I had the citrulline malate, the it just
Yeah.
everything. And one time, citrulline malate, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the clinical dose at that time back in these days with the studies that I had read was 6 to 8 grams.
Yeah.
And the beta alanine is like 3.2 grams you normally have. That's like the kind
Hmm.
of max dose.
Yeah.
Basically, I switched
Oh
the tubs
no.
I thought I was putting it. Yeah. So I put 8 grams roughly of the beta alanine in. Honestly, the
Oh my
the
God.
tingles were just unbearable. I honestly I was going to die.
Oh
That's
my
my
God,
fault, and
that's
that's stupid. So yeah.
horrendous. I can't even imagine what that
Yeah.
would feel like. Oh my God.
Awful, awful. And the,
Dang.
the worst part is that I used to do this thing where I used to live. It would be a 5 minute walk to the gym. So the 5 minute walk was specifically, okay, I'm
Mm.
going to walk and sip my pre. By the time I get to the gym, that's me. So I only had
Yeah.
5 minutes. I downed it all. And
God.
honestly, I was in the gym just looking around everyone. Just like, it was ridiculous.
Like you're basically high,
So
just like, what's going on?
honest, I felt like I was on something else. But yeah, and like I
So
said,
funny.
no performance benefit, just a
No,
tingle.
literally not. Just like feeling horrible. Oh my God.
Absolutely
Yeah.
crazy. When
Yeah.
did you like, I feel everyone who lifts at some point becomes addicted to caffeine at some point. At some
Yeah.
point.
I don't
Did you
actually know.
always
Like,
take work?
I Yeah, I probably did. I've the thing is I was sponsored by USN for a really long time, so I could because I just had it to hand. So
Yeah,
I think that's why I
yeah,
started
yeah,
it, but I definitely turned into like a caffeine crackhead when I was on prep. I remember that distinctly
yeah.
because I was having pre-workout and like 3 or 4 Monster cans a day at the end of my prep.
Wow.
It was
That is
really not good. And then obviously when I finished competing and I was like, oh, I'm actually eating food and I have energy. And then I was like trying to wean myself off the monsters.
yeah.
It was awful.
That
Yeah.
is crazy. So what, a pre-workout and 3 to 4 monsters?
Yeah, you're probably about 3 monsters and a pre-workout, which was quite something. But the thing is, because I was like really craving something that was really sweet, that was a thing, and monsters
Yeah,
just hit the
yeah.
spot. And now, honestly, I don't want one anymore. I haven't had one since I prepped because I was just like, I physically don't want it. It makes me feel sick.
Fair enough. How long ago was that prep?
Yeah, 2018. So it's been a good like 5 years since I've had a monster.
Yeah, because I've known you for a few years, obviously, but I remember like I've seen
Yeah.
your posts where you're talking about, competing before and you know the realities of it.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on competing? Like in terms of like, do you think it is worth it? People just do
Um,
it for the one off, or you've got people that want to do it as their career, and there's people that want to do it just to dip their foot
yeah.
in the water. You think
Yeah.
it's worth it?
I have so much respect for people that decide that they want to do it as long as they're doing it for the right reasons. My
Yeah.
experience of it was no, it's not worth it. But equally, I'm very glad I did it. Don't regret it, but wouldn't do it again. That's sort of my stance on it. I think sometimes it's one
Yeah.
of those things where if you are toying with the idea, you almost have to do it to figure out whether it's for you or not. You can't, like, no one can tell you what that's like. No one can tell you. You
Yeah.
have to do it.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it's so interesting. I think it's one of those things that you hear a lot of people talk about maybe wanting to do it, and then when they do it,
Mm,
it's completely, it blows their expectation of what they thought it was going to be like.
yeah.
Because there's obviously a huge difference between just getting lean and then getting show
That
lean.
lean. Yeah.
you know, um,
Yeah.
and the whole kind of like suffering aspect, I guess,
Yeah.
comes into play regardless of how genetically blessed you are, how well you deal with hunger and stuff. At some point,
Yeah.
you are going to have to suffer if you compete. That's the way
You
I
have to, yeah, you have to have the most like ridiculously solid mindset when you're doing it to like, because
yeah,
it's suffering. To be
yeah,
honest, it really
yeah.
is. So you have to be quite sadistic with how you look at it.
What's it like on the day of the show? Are you just like running on adrenaline? Just
Yeah. Honestly, day of the show is amazing. Like I had the best time. I was like buzzing. I had adrenaline, and as soon as I finished, I was like, "Oh my God, this is the best thing ever! Like I'm definitely doing this again." And then as soon as
yeah,
I come back to some sort of sense of normality, and I'm eating well, and I'm seeing my friends, I'm like, "Actually, this is like way more fun." I don't really want to go back to that.
yeah. No, that's very fair. And how do you find
Yeah,
back like now where you are like right now? How do you
yeah.
find balancing, let's say, what you're saying there, going out with friends and stuff? How do you balance being social whilst living
Hmm.
like a fitness lifestyle?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I feel like I'm the best I've ever been at it at the moment. Like I'm not worried about controlling every last bit of my food, and I certainly would have done at some point at at certain points in time. I train hard because I love training hard. I eat enough so that I can do that, but also I'm not afraid to not track my food, go out for dinner, have a weekend off. Like it's taken me a long time, I think, to get to that place where, even though like a few years ago I was kind of in that place, and I would have said I was in that place, and like it was okay, it wasn't bad by any means with my relationship with food, but it's definitely way better now. Like I consider myself a relatively normal person. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I think that's it's refreshing to hear that because it's obviously, you'll know this as well. Obviously, with your clients and stuff, a lot of people do struggle with that
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
Being able to like know that if you have a meal out, it doesn't mean you have to have a meal out and go off plan for a month. It's that you can have a meal out and come back, and it's.
Yeah.
I do agree with you though in terms of it just takes a bit of time to
Yeah.
actually get used to that. I definitely used to be not so balanced, especially with training. I would think if I took, a week off, that was the worst time of my life. Um,
Mm.
I'd never, well, still to this day, I don't, I've got this thing, I don't do deloads. I don't deload. If I'm going to rest, I just take 4 days off and go back.
I'm the same.
That's just how I do it back
Yeah.
in the day. Because I've got this thing about deloads. Like, fair enough, I get it for more so powerlifting. It's more appropriate. But for me, I'm just like, I don't want to go in and have a easy session. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I'm just like,
No,
why? I
I'm
may as well just not train.
I'm very much the same, and that's what I would advise most of my clients to do as well. Like some people will like to go in and obviously go through the motions with a reduced load, and that's absolutely fine. But
Yeah.
personally, I think I generally take like 5 to 7 days off, and I'll just fully rest. And I think actually having some headspace away from the gym is quite good as well from that perspective. Like I personally don't want to go to the gym to like feel like I'm half-assing a session and then like
Exactly.
come home. I have no desire to do that, and I'd actually rather have that time back in my day to crack on with work. So you know
No, I agree. I think it's I just hate deloads. I hate them.
I know. I don't love
It's,
them.
it's a kind of thing, like and I chat to this about with clients as well, just because I do that doesn't mean you have to. You might love,
Mm,
as you said, going in and do say 50% of the normal load they do, going through the
yeah.
motions. I just don't like doing that. I
No.
want to go in and, have that intensity. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't like it. It becomes not fun for me at that point.
100%. I think any sort of deload, if you're
Yeah.
someone that enjoys training, a deload is like an unnecessary, it's a necessary evil. Like it's not going to be the best thing that you want to, obviously you're going to want to go to the gym, but they're so good for you to do every now and again. So do them if
Yeah.
you're listening to
For
this
sure.
and you're thinking about deloading. Do
Yeah,
it.
you've trained for 3 years in a row. You've had a pre-workout every day, training 7 days a week. Maybe, and you've noticed that your strength isn't quite where it was. You're not getting as a juicy pump as you once were. Maybe it's
Yeah.
time. Take a little deload.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
So talk to me like with your clients then, when would you deload them? What would the signs be that they need a deload? How should people
so
approach
I know,
this? Mm.
yeah. So I usually try to time it because some coaches and there's some studies as well that show that you should deload after X amount of like training cycles or whatever training cycle you're in. You
Hmm.
should deload at this point. However, I noticed that everyone's like the correlation that I feel is with intensity. If
Hmm.
someone trains, to true failure, they're probably going to need a deload a bit faster because their body's just getting beat up.
Mm.
So you'll know the classic. People say they're at an RPE 9, but if you're with them in person, it's actually like a 6.
Yeah.
So there's not really a need for a deload. So I usually go by, when we do a weekly review and have like catch-up calls and stuff, I kind of base it on how they're feeling at the time, what their progress has been like in the gym, how they're feeling mentally, and then I judge it from there. I don't necessarily have okay, in 8 weeks you're going to deload. I'll
Mm.
also try time it around if let's say someone's going, on holiday or they've got like a business trip going on their way. That's what I do as well. I try to time it around that as well.
Yeah.
If you've got a business trip in 9 weeks and your deload's due in 8 weeks, I'm like, you may as well just wait
Just do it for
the
another
ninth week
week.
and go
Yeah.
then.
Mm.
What about you? What's your
Yeah.
approach?
Exactly the same, really. I think another couple of factors would be like if you're starting to get to the gym and you're just not enjoying it anymore. That's quite a big one as well, because
Yeah,
sometimes you just need a break and a bit of a refresh as to what you're actually doing. That's a big one. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, but generally speaking, if you're going to the gym, you're lifting weights and you're struggling to progress, you always get to that point within a certain block, and it's like, okay, this is a big sign that you just need a break and we need to go
Yeah,
again. Yeah,
for sure,
absolutely.
for sure. Speaking of
Yeah,
that, just something you were saying a couple minutes ago. You were saying about do you still train first thing in the morning? Wake up,
I
have your
do.
pre, hit the gym.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any food at all? Do you train fasted?
I train fasted usually. I put just like carbs in my drink just because, so, not necessarily the most optimal thing in the world, but my logic is, would I rather sleep longer or get up and eat food? And my answer is I would rather sleep longer. So that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So you have some carbs in your drink, and you feel
Yeah,
good on
I
that.
generally speaking, I'll try and have a big meal before I go to bed, and then that pretty much does me okay. If I get up in the morning, I am pretty used to training fasted because I try and get to the gym early, so that I can get it done and then crack on with work for the rest of the day. So yeah, I will just do that. I'll whack carbs in my drink, I'll have a big meal before I go to bed, and then I'll have my breakfast when I'm done. Mm.
For sure. Yeah, that's a really interesting thing you said there because I noticed this. A lot of people think that for example, their pre-workout meal has to be, this much protein and this much
Mm.
carbs. When actually, if you have a pre-workout meal and go to the gym, the energy that you're actually using is usually from the meals that you've had the day before
Before,
or hours
yeah.
before. So if you're waking up and training fasted, it's actually your dinner, and you said you have a big dinner.
Mm.
It's you're using that,
Yeah.
So it takes time to digest, absorb nutrients and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think so much of it is psychological as well. And actually just realizing that your strength is there. Like you just need to actually train hard. I think there was some research that came out recently. Actually, I saw that there was something to do with never train fasted because your performance will be worse. And then you actually read the research and it says all of these effects are psychological. And it's like, okay, so stop being a little bitch and just train.
Exactly. It's so crazy how much the mind, they start throwing words like catabolic and
Mm,
muscle breakdown, and it scares people. Like, oh, I
yeah,
need to have a steak now before I train, and you're like, no,
exactly.
you're good,
Like
you're fine.
training, like lifting weights is catabolic in its nature. Like you're breaking down the
Exactly.
muscle. It's as simple as that. And then you go and put some protein in your body and it's all well and good.
Yeah, I think it's something as well. I would definitely say I struggled with my first few years of lifting. It's
Mm.
very easy to overcomplicate the process of
Yes.
building muscle.
Hmm.
Specifically, like, I remember back in the day, 16 years old, I'd be setting 2 hour timers on my phone, just right through school. I was walking
Yeah.
around school with like one of those big gallon jugs of milk, like an absolute weirdo, just sipping on milk. Honestly, it was bizarre. And now I look back and I'm like, what was I doing?
I
What
know.
was I doing?
I definitely
Um,
did stuff like that as well.
yeah, it's crazy, and it just I feel like that's one good thing as well with social media and
Mm.
the kind of big breakthrough of YouTube back then. It kind of exposed that, and it's like
Yes.
because I think the '90s bodybuilding, of course, that's what they done apparently, and you
Yeah.
think, oh, that's like the best way to do it and stuff, but you don't know what else they're doing and stuff. So
No.
yeah,
I remember
it's an
being stuck
interesting
on
one.
the like eating clean hype when I was in like, yeah, when I think back to like A levels slash beginning of uni, I thought that was
Yeah.
how you had to do it just because that's what all the cool people were doing in the magazines. And it's like, you can't eat, God forbid, you can't eat that. It's not clean. And I'd be like,
Yeah, yeah clean, and I'm just like, what are you talking about?
I
Yeah,
know. It's so
clean eating. I think
funny.
it's so interesting. Like today, I would say, I describe clean eating as just nutrient dense food.
Yes.
That's to me, that's what clean is. And
Yeah.
if someone's going to throw that word in, clean is just kind of nutrient dense. And then dirty food, if you want to call it that,
Yeah.
kind of it gives me a bit of the ick. I'm not going to lie. Dirty food, food that isn't nutrient dense.
Yeah.
And I think when people learn that, it's like a big kind of breakthrough in terms of like, oh, actually, I can balance fitness, a healthy lifestyle with
Hmm.
social activities, going out with friends, a family dinner, spending time with loved ones, and not feeling that pressure of just having, freaking quinoa and avocados all the time.
Yeah, honestly, that's actually funny that you said that because I definitely had a time in my life where I made myself eat quinoa and I hated it. Let's be real, I hated it. And I tried to convince myself that, like, no, this is fine. I like this. I never liked that. So why I did it, I don't know. But yeah, you're
Yeah,
absolutely hitting the nail on the head with that food side of things. And it's the understanding that food is food at the end of the day. There's no good food, there's no bad food. It's simply food that's either more nutritious than others. And as soon as you realize that, you can have that balance. And I actually think, having foods that people would consider quote unquote dirty that we hate actually allows them to eat like I guess eat well like the majority of the time. Like personally for me,
yeah.
I love chocolate. I'm obsessed with Reese's at the moment. That seems to be the thing. I don't know. I'm literally obsessed. Yeah.
That's a good choice.
Oh,
That's a
they're
good. I
so
respect it.
good. But like if I eat those, like I will have Reese's more or less every single day at the moment, and that's okay. But for me having that, it allows me to make better choices like 80% of the time. And that's the balance that I need. So if someone said to me, you have to eat nutritious food 100% of the time, I would be bored out of my brain. Like I wouldn't stick to that.
Yeah, for sure. I think
No.
we all have those sort of like, as long as you have like those nutritious principles of your day, like you probably have similar foods throughout your day. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I think I've had protein oats with 1 teaspoon of peanut butter and a bit of honey and one banana every morning for about 5 years straight.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely now I can't have protein oats now, but I had it for
I'm
five
the
years. Just
same.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I've really
crazy.
gone off it because I did the same as you.
Honestly,
I don't want it anymore.
it was the
Mm.
classic. It was 80 grams of oats, one scoop of like, microwave, one scoop away mix,
Yeah.
peanut butter, banana, honey, and it was good at the time. But now I'm just
Yeah.
oh,
No, I
you
tried
know.
to have it the other day, actually. Not the other day. That is a complete lie. Like I think it was last time I went on holiday because I was like, oh, this will be a really good breakfast to just have whilst I'm on holiday. Because then you
Yeah.
have your breakfast and then go out for lunch and dinner or whatever you're doing. But I tried it and I was like, oh, like I really don't like this anymore. I can't even make myself eat it. Like it was just bad.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I think you probably had the same kind of approach though, like when you go on holiday, you have like, let's say you're having that as a breakfast. A lot of times it's not that you're actively trying to track or eat
No,
specifically
no, no.
healthy, but
Yeah.
if I start my day with a good meal,
Yeah.
it keeps my appetite good throughout the day. I'm not starving. I notice a lot of people, they complain that, oh, I'm hungry at night, it's ruining my progress. And I'm like,
Mm.
you eat like a 3-year-old throughout the whole day. You know, you
Yeah.
don't eat and then you're hungry at night. Like, of course you're hungry at night. You don't
Yeah.
eat throughout the day, you know?
Yeah.
And then just add something like, a good meal like that. It's nutrient dense, a lot of fiber. It just makes the world of
Mm.
difference. And then before you know it, people are like, oh, I've got control of this. It's good.
Exactly. Yeah. And the holiday thing as well. Like I love eating out. I absolutely love it. But I also like my own meals. I know that's really weird, but like I need the balance of the
Yeah.
two because if I've been eating out all the time, like I did this weekend, I pretty much ate out every single night and I like that. But then it got to Monday and I was like, I actually just really want my meals. Like I want to, I
Yeah.
want to have some air fried chips because I'm obsessed with those as well. And I was like, right, I'm just going to do my day like I normally do it. And it's so nice. Like, I don't know if it's just me that's like that.
No, it's good. I think, I think the more you eat out, the novelty wears off a bit too. You're just kind of like, you
Yeah.
know what, I want my plain, not the plain, just, because a lot of times you go out, stuff's a bit more, salty and seasoned very well. So it
Mm.
tastes obviously super amazing. And
Yeah.
sometimes you're just like, you know what, I just kind of want back to my own stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How would you, how would you rate your cooking skills?
Oh God. I'm not a bad cook, but I definitely am a creature of habit. And because I live by myself, like I just do the same things all the time. And it's not that I'm not going to spend the time making it all fancy. I can't lie. Like I just don't have that time in my day.
Fair,
Yeah.
fair. As long as you eat
Yeah.
it in, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I could like so if you gave me a really fancy recipe, I could give it a good go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. I have this like joke that I tell people that I get called Le Chef Pierre.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
but I'm actually, yeah, it's just this like really bad joke that I have on my Instagram, and I'm actually a really bad chef. So I always say if there's a meal that I can make and it tastes good,
Anyone can do
you
it.
can do it. You can do it. Mm. So yeah.
I
Do you know
love
what I'm
that.
obsessed with though just now? I love like Asian style food. I don't know
It's my
why.
favorite. It's my favorite. If
It's the
I'm going
best.
out for food, literally like Japanese, Thai, Chinese, oh, I love
It's
it.
the best. It is the best. It's
Yeah.
so, so good.
So
And a lot of the
nice.
times, like when you break it down in terms of, I find that a lot of the dishes are actually quite, nutrient dense as well. It usually breaks down to, a protein, a carb, and a ton of veggies. It's just the sauce that tastes so good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I love it.
but that's
I
it's
I
so
literally
funny.
drown everything in soy sauce 99% of the time.
Yeah, it is the best.
I love it.
Right, I've got some funny questions for you.
Oh, go on.
Okay, so what shall I start with? Okay, right.
Why am I
Okay,
scared?
right. Here's the first. No, no, it's good. It's good. Right.
Okay.
So, what is your most awkward gym story?
Oh, I don't know. Oh no, that's really bad because I'm like, I actually don't know.
Awkward gym story.
Um,
Nobody's in the gym. You train at 5 a.m. That's why nobody's there.
I don't know. I guess I've done loads of stupid shit over the time. That's why I'm struggling to pick. What's yours?
Let's pick one.
Give me some inspiration here. What's yours?
I have a gym story that haunts me to this day.
Okay, go on. I'm ready
So
for this.
I so 18-year-old Pete. I've
Yeah,
just moved out of my home. I've moved to the city. I'm in Edinburgh, Scotland. I join a pure gym, 24 hours open. And because, I'm an 18-year-old student, I go in at midnight. That's what you do.
obviously,
Okay.
obviously.
But not many people are there though, of course, because it's midnight.
Yeah.
So I was in the gym and I'd never used a seated hamstring curl. Where I'm from, they
Hmm.
didn't have them. Don't know why. I was in the seated hamstring curl and I did a heavy set. I've got my headphones on. Eminem's playing. I'm in my hoodies and I'm just feeling good.
Yeah.
Finished my set. to failure. I'm cramping and I can't get out the machine. It's like locked. I didn't know
Oh
how to
no.
release it. So I was like, oh no. So it doesn't sound that bad, right? But 18-year-old Pete mindset is like, I'm not asking for help. I can't ask for help. So I kind of start to look around, just being like, okay, maybe I do need a bit of help here. I look
Hmm.
around. I'm not even kidding. The only people in the gym, there was 5 people. Every
Yeah.
single one of them was female in my age. And
Oh
at that time, my mindset
no.
at that time was just like, no, I refuse to ask anyone.
Oh
So
God.
I spent 10 minutes just sort of like sliding myself, just kind of like out. And then
Oh
I just
my
stood up and played
God.
it off. And I just, to this day, I wish I could have access to the CCTV footage. When I speak it out loud now, it doesn't bother me. But at the time, I was mortified. I was
Yeah.
absolutely mortified.
Oh my
But yeah, that's
God.
just an
Yeah,
ego
that's
thing.
that's pretty
Yeah.
bad. That's pretty bad, especially with the girls.
Yeah, you're 18, you're just kind of like, yeah, it's a different time in your life, and you're just like, oh my God, I cannot ask them. What am I going
No.
to do? It's midnight. I don't know if it does this. I don't know if you've been to a Pure Gym, but they always
Mm.
turn the music down at midnight.
Oh,
So I was like,
that's
what am I
annoying.
going to do? Hey, help! I'm stuck. It's like,
You
what
have
do you
to.
say? Yeah, yeah, what do you say?
Just get one of them to come over,
Oh
and you
yeah,
should you should have asked one of them to come over and help, and then ask for their number. There you go. Done.
that was the play. That was
Smooth.
the play of the thing.
You could be like, yeah,
Meanwhile,
yeah,
I'm
I did
just
that
sat.
on purpose because I wanted to talk to you.
Yeah, that would have been good, but 18-year-old Pete doesn't think like that.
No.
It's just like such a different.
Oh my
That's something as well
God.
I'd say is interesting is how your mindset changes when you start fitness and then like to now. Um,
Yeah.
so just how you perceive everything is just completely different in terms of I would say when I was 18 to 22, I would think everyone's watching how much I was lifting.
Mm.
I thought I was quite strong, and I'd think people are watching specifically at the plates that I'm putting on.
No
Really
one
though,
cares.
nobody gives a fuck. No one cares.
No.
No one cares. And
Mm-mm.
and I think it's interesting. A lot of people, you probably experience this too. You'll have a beginner client. Of course, they're starting with the bar, just like we done, just like everyone else does,
Yeah.
and they're saying, "Oh, I'm not that strong. I can't do much." Oh, or this is one I hate. Oh, I'm going to be on the little plate, the little 1.25s, and I'm like,
Mm.
yo,
Yeah.
we all started here.
Yeah.
This is what it is,
Literally.
and no one cares. Just no one cares,
No.
and people that
Everyone
are
in
even
the gym is,
experienced.
yeah, everyone in the gym's so wrapped up in what they're doing themselves. This is the thing. You might think people are looking at you, but actually they're probably thinking about themselves.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
crazy. I'd say for I mean, you can tell me what girls maybe think in the gym, but for
Mm.
guys, a lot of the time they think that, the girls are like looking at what they're lifting. I can
No.
guarantee you right now they don't. I say this to my girlfriend, even we're at the gym together. She doesn't even know what I'm lifting.
No.
She's just no idea.
No.
And, if anything, the most attention I ever get in the gym is from guys.
Yeah.
Is the guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, the guys are the only ones that are really like looking. Oh, he's got 2 plates in the bench press. Oh, no one ever says anything.
No. I can't say I've ever looked at what a guy's lifting. Ever.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No. No.
There you go.
I don't know.
What would you
Girls,
say people are like thinking of in the gym when they're like, let's say they're, gym anxiety is a thing. A lot of beginners
yeah.
feel that way.
Yeah.
What would you say? What's going through the mind
Yeah,
of these
it's
girls that you coach? What are they experiencing when they get into that weights area and it's a scary place? What are they?
mm,
What are they feeling?
it's more so just fear that people are judging you. And I understand, I still get it now, to be honest. When I walk into a gym that I don't normally train at, I feel like that. And I'm like, oh my God, like these people are judging me. Or you look at someone and think, oh my God, she looks amazing. Like, and I'm just stood here like this. And it's all that sort of thought process, which is so irrational at the end of the day, because no one cares. Like you said there, nobody cares what you're doing. Like, just go and do your thing. And I always say this to beginners and new clients, like, if you can, make sure you have your program before you go in. make sure you're familiar with the exercises that you're doing, like have a watch of the videos, like figure out what you're doing first before you go in. If you can go in with a friend, go in with a friend, just to like break the ice and make it easier for yourself, and then the next time you do it you'll be absolutely fine on your own. But all those sorts of things, wear something you know you feel good in. That's a big one. That is a real big one. I know it sounds really daft, but like girls especially, like if you're wearing something that you just are like, oh, but I don't like this or I don't like that, like you're gonna spend the whole time thinking about that when you walk into the gym. So make sure you're wearing something you feel good in, and you'll be absolutely fine. Yeah.
People listening to this now, if it's they're just gonna be like, oh, I can now go buy the new Gymshark set. I've got an excuse to get it now.
You do. You have the excuse. But yeah, it's funny. Like even I've been training for absolutely years, and I still get this from time to time, particularly as it got hot. Like now it's summertime, it's warmer. I had to make the transition to wearing shorts, and I don't like wearing shorts. And it's like, oh, I got that feeling all over again. Now I'm fine with it. It's just like breaking the ice.
I can totally relate to that. I'm used to training in hoodies, and I don't know why. I just always train in a hoodie, and obviously it's hot now.
Yeah.
So, you know, going from a hoodie to like a baggy t-shirt, it's quite like it's a step, just like, you know, going to the shorts.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just our insecurities that just try to come at you at a time, and I think it's really good to push against it and just be like, okay, you know what? Wear that outfit, wear that t-shirt, wear those shorts, because at the end of the day, once you actually are in there and you get going, you feel great. You feel absolutely great. And, you know, it's something I've not really thought about too much when you say that, about the clothes that you wear.
Yeah.
Do have a big impact.
Yeah. It's such a tiny little thing, and it really winds me up as well. If you've seen those TikToks where guys are like, oh, like she's using the gym as a fashion show and this, that, and the other. No, like that girl is wearing what she feels good in. That's the only reason. It's got nothing to do with you. She's not trying to impress that guy over there. She's wearing it because she feels good in it. So wear the damn thing.
That's great. Yeah.
Honestly, like that is my advice. Yeah, 100%.
No, yeah, I do see those. It's you know, gym's not a fashion show. Fuck it. Wear what you want. You know.
Exactly.
And I think especially like, you know, and I think it's important to note with what you said there, you know, you're an advanced lifter and you've been training for years. So, and you still feel this way to some degree.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's really, it's good though for people to know, like beginners, that it's not just them that feels this way. And it is, you know, I would say as like a muscle that needs to be trained. The only way to really get better at it is to put yourself in that environment. But like you say, you've got those coping mechanisms, you know, wearing what you like to wear, going in with a friend, knowing what you're going to do, even knowing the layout of the gym I find quite useful, because some gyms are laid out so weird, and you look at a program and you're like, okay, I know how to do this seated single arm row, but where is the seated single arm row? Where's the attachment if it's not set up properly? So just knowing these kind of things as well can make a huge difference. But yeah, that's that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. This is my first podcast. It's really interesting how the topics kind of like, you ask one thing and then you kind of, you know,
go off on different tangents. I love it. It's funny. We had like a whole load of topics that we were going to talk about. I don't think we've talked about a single one of them.
Yeah, that was one that had their awkward gym stories there.
There you go. Right, let's have another one off the list. I'm having a look.
Right. I got a couple of good ones here.
Okay, go on.
So, no, we talked about one of them. I wrote down living a fitness lifestyle being social. We kind of talked about that.
Oh yeah, we did. We did.
Cool. How about, okay, here's a question.
Okay.
It's not written down, but it's in my brain.
Okay, right. I'm ready.
If you had to start again, rewind time.
Yeah.
Okay, you started at school, you said you were finishing school, that's when you started lifting.
Yeah.
Day one of lifting, I want to go to the gym. What would you do differently if you could just rewind time, but you have the knowledge that you have now? What would you do differently?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything would be different. Okay, let me pick my like top 3. Okay. Number 1.
Let's hear it.
Not just focusing on burning calories in the gym, because for some reason, I remember at the time, I had this number in my head, 500 calories, and I wore obviously like a Garmin watch or something like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, right, I can't leave the gym until I burn 500 calories because that's like my number.
Yeah, what's going to happen? What'll
It's
happen if
so
you leave?
stupid.
You
I
know?
know. So I'd like, even if I finished what I was going to do, I'd be like, oh, let me just jump on the bike and get to my number so before I can leave. It's ridiculous. I don't know why. I was so obsessed with that rather than actually like getting stronger and progressing. That's why I didn't make any progress for a really, really long time. So
Did you do the classic, cardio only when you started, not as much weights, or did you
yeah,
start in
when
with
I
the weights?
started, yeah. Yeah. I think I started off with my cardio and then I got a PT that tried to like get me more into weights. But even so, when I look back on that, he still made me do a lot of cardio. So I don't think it really was that great. But um
Did
yeah.
you PT session just on cardio?
I remember that he had
Like
me
a
doing
PT
this thing that is honestly like such bullshit when I look back on it now. It was like cardio acceleration training was what it was called. So you'd like do a set of you do a set of strength exercise straight into like 30 seconds of like high intensity cardio and like back and forth, which makes no
Mm.
sense. Like now I'm looking back on it, I'm like, I know the science, like what the hell was that? But he was
This
adamant
a
that that
beginner
was
wanting to get into
yeah,
fitness.
so I didn't know what I was doing, so I just did what he told me to do. So
Of
um
course.
that probably comes back to the cringy shit you do in the gym because I thought that was really good for a period of time. So that's what I was doing. And I was probably actually really annoying because say I was on like a bit of kit strength training and then I'd like go to the other end of the gym to like run for 30 seconds. So if someone was waiting for that bit of kit, they'd be like, what the fuck? So I don't know. That wasn't great. So
They're
yeah.
about to go on, and then you're just like sprinting back to the other side of the room. Wait, two more
I
sets.
don't even know.
That
So
is
yeah,
crazy.
it was weird. Yeah. So I
It sounds like
certainly
BS.
do that.
It just sounds like BS.
Yeah.
Like
I
what?
mean,
Why?
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him telling me like, oh, you're supposed to like lift weights and then by doing the cardio, it like increases blood flow and gets rid of all like the lactic or stuff. It
Like
made
lactic
it
acid.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, now I've evolved. I look back and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Um, but anyway, that
It's
happened.
cool. And then you can, and it's good. It's cool though because now you get to share this on a podcast. Someone listening might be in that
I
situation,
really
and then
hope
you're
no
like,
one
you know
else is
what?
doing
I don't
that.
need.
Yeah, don't just stop immediately if you're doing that. Um,
Yeah, and I made a thread earlier. It was similar to what you're saying. I said, if you have a PT and your PT session consists of just going from one cardio piece of equipment to another, get a new PT
I saw
because
that
that's just
actually.
like
That was good.
I hear this.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just like it's no wonder PTs get such a bad rep sometimes. If that's what your standard is, that's if you go to your first PT and you're just on, let's say, the treadmill and the rower and the cross trainer
mm,
and you don't like it, I'm like, no shit,
don't do it.
I don't like it either.
Yeah,
You know,
no, no.
it's crazy.
I
I'm
know.
like, fair play if you want to do cardio, but you don't need me there to show you.
No, exactly, exactly. I'm trying to think of my other things
Mhm.
that I would change.
That was one. So just
Uh,
sort of like learning about what's actually effective, what's actually useful for you, training for
yeah.
your own goals, maybe.
Yeah. I also would never stick to like a progressive training program. So I chop and change my workouts all the time. I remember being sat there with like a notebook and a pen before I went into my sessions. I was like, oh, I fancy doing this today. And I'd like write it down. But obviously, because I was never progressively overloading anything, again, it didn't make progress
Yeah.
for a while. Um, so there's that.
I noticed this a lot. I feel that's still quite common with beginners. They
Yeah.
want variety, which I totally get.
Mm.
But really, you need to sometimes stick just even for a little while and build. Like I always used to say, if you're building strength within the rep range you're in, that's great. You're doing
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah,
You know, of
absolutely.
course we can change the exercises down the line, but you know what it's like. For example, the program I was on not long ago, I think I ran it for almost 2 years. I was
Yeah.
still progressing. I
Yeah.
just enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to chop and change every week.
No, absolutely spot on. So yeah, that's a big one. Um, I did a bit of a post on that earlier actually, because I sometimes speak to people and they're like, oh, I saw this exercise on TikTok, and it's like, just because it's on TikTok doesn't make it a good exercise. Like if you really think about the reason why that particular individual posted that exercise with some like clickbait caption saying, oh, you need to do this to triple the size of your glutes or something, I don't know. Why are they posting that? If you really think about it, it's because them as a content creator, they want the clickbait, they want views, they want likes. It's not because they want you to do the exercise. It's not. So just
Yeah,
ignore it.
it's crazy.
Mm,
Something as well along the lines of that. Let's say you've got an influencer girl and she's got a big booty and she's promoting a glute band and she's doing all these
mm,
movements with it. And then you click on her page. What's the first thing in the bio? Buy my glute band.
yeah.
And you're like, just because you're using that now and doing, let's say she does those exercises, which she probably isn't doing, that's not how she actually built her glutes to that.
No.
She's doing it now, cool, but she didn't suppose 8 years of graft in the gym to build that size.
Yeah.
That's not from the glute bands, you
Yeah.
know?
This is honestly, my biggest wind up in this industry. It's women who have incredible physiques that are now selling a program that they clearly didn't get their physique from. Like, honestly, it winds me up. Like, don't do that to people. Like, why are you bullshitting people? I don't.
Yeah, it's like bikini body shredded and it's like starts with like mountain climbers and you're like,
Yeah,
just
100%. It's always like banded glute workouts at home. And like I obviously understand like it's marketed in that way because people want the easiest way of doing things. They want to think that it's that easy. So of course that's going to sell. People are going to buy into that. But at the same time, like have some morals. Like you didn't get your
yeah,
physique doing that. So don't bullshit people. Tell people what you actually did. And I know I
yeah.
understand that that's not as like Instagrammable, it's not going to sell as well. Like I know because even now, like people message me saying like, why do you do the same stuff all the time? Like it's really boring. And I know it's really boring. This is why I don't post training videos all the time, because I'm doing the same stuff week in, week
Yeah.
out, and it's going to look the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like, yeah, but that's how it works. And I know it's not as, interesting to watch, but you know.
That should be your next post, is that.
I
It's
kind of did
supposed,
it today.
I can see it now. It's supposed to be. Is
It's
that what you posted
supposed to
today? I
be
need to have a look at
boring.
it.
That would have been a good caption.
That's the click there. It's
Like
supposed to be boring. No, that's
clickbait caption.
it's so interesting. I suppose another one I see with, let's say a bodybuilder, monstrous amounts of muscle,
Hmm.
training for over a decade, and they are obviously in great shape, and they've got these stupid little electrodes attached to their like abs, and you're just like,
Yeah.
and you're like, you really think that's going to do anything? But
No.
people obviously then they see, oh, it's only 20 quid, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend £20, maybe get some abs instead of,
Oh my God.
spending the time
Yeah.
looking at my nutrition and stuff. It's crazy. It's a crazy world of fitness BS that we live in,
Oh
and it's
my
really hard
God.
to
Yeah.
navigate it. And I understand why people get, beginners get
Confused.
confused with all the missing information.
Mm. 100%.
And I think that's the thing. Even having a coach, the clarity alone is
Mm.
just you're like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
There's no clarity.
100%.
You see one thing, and TikTok, especially the short form content too. You see, a 15-second clip, someone doing this exercise, and then you click on something else, and it's saying, "Don't do that
I
exercise. Do
know.
this," and you're like, "Oh fuck!" Like that's in my
Yeah.
program though. I'm not supposed to. It's
I
just crazy.
know.
It's crazy.
I know. It absolutely does my head in. Um, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
as well when we're saying about, I think something when you're saying about you know, what you do differently. I
Mm.
would say for guys particularly, something that guys do, let's say, 16 to 18 years old, you just get into the gym and you want to pack on muscle. That's usually their goal. Pack on muscle, maybe lean up a little bit.
Mm.
A lot of people just have this obsession of having a six pack.
Yep.
And I had this as well. And you
I
end
had
up
that.
trying to diet down. Yeah, diet down at like 16, 17. And you're
Mm.
like, regardless of how good your genetics are, if you want like, a muscular physique, you're not going to have that much muscle anyway. You're 16. You're a
No.
baby,
Yeah.
you know? Obviously, of course, if, maybe I'd say the exceptions, like if you're an actually overweight guy and it's for,
Mm.
your health and stuff like that, and you want to lean down, cool, of course. But you
Yeah.
still don't even need to go to that super lean state, because there's a difference between getting into a healthy range of body fat and then getting that lean. But yeah, I think a lot of guys, they fall into the trap, and I did as well. 16, 17, trying to stay lean, trying to chase that six pack, when actually, if you spent a few years on a bulk, just a
Yeah.
nice steady gain, just enjoy lifting, eat
Yeah.
well, you're
Yeah.
going to pack on so much more muscle than just going up and down, up and down.
100%. It's the same for women though, isn't it? Because I think sometimes it's difficult for women to understand the difference between like, hang on, let me rephrase that. So I often get clients that come to me that say, I want to tone up. And I understand, I can look at them and understand exactly what they mean by that. But in their head, it's their clarity, it's not having the clarity between it being fat loss and muscle gain. Like it, quite often the instinct is going for fat loss, like, yeah, I'm just going to lose fat and I'm going to look like this person. And it's like, no, because that person that you're looking at there has a lot more muscle than you. Like you're not just going to lean down and look like that. You're going to lean down and look skinny because you don't have that.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the same shape. So
Yeah.
there's quite often that I see, that's a main thing that I see with a lot of clients. And when I speak about, oh, you should focus on hypertrophy, you should focus on gaining strength, quite often people will look at that and be like, I don't know if that's me. Like, is that me? Is that what I should be doing? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Do you get a lot of women asking you, let's say they're about to sign up as a client or they're interested in fitness and they're a beginner? Do you get a lot of, I know you'll get a lot of, I want to tone up, but do you also get a lot of when you say about lifting weights, do you get the classic, I don't want to become bulky, I don't want to build too much muscle? Do you get that quite a lot?
Sometimes. I think usually by the time I've signed up a client, they know what I'm about, so they're kind of on board with that at that point already, which is great. But yeah, I've certainly had that before, and I think it's something that I used to think as well when I was like getting involved in lifting. I thought I could get jacked real quick.
Yeah.
Reality check. It
Was
didn't
that easy?
happen.
Yeah. I wish it was that easy. I wish
No. It's like I'm
that was the
trying.
case. Yeah, everyone would just be walking around just jacked, like every single human in the world, just
Yeah,
walking
I
around.
know. Isn't
I
it
think that's
funny
what my
though?
mum thought as well.
Yeah. Oh,
Like when I was
100%.
17, 18, she thought the same. I was going to the gym and she's like, "Oh, Peter, you need to watch out. You're going quite a lot." And I'm like,
God.
everyone else in my year is smoking weed, taking drugs. I've never taken a drug in my life. I've never
No.
smoked. I rarely drink. And you're worried about me going to the gym 5 times a week. I think
Yeah.
we've got a little bit more to worry about here.
Oh my
It's like,
God.
put it
Yeah,
into reality.
I know. It's so
It's
funny, isn't
crazy.
it?
It's absolutely crazy.
I don't know about you as well, but have your goals of what you want your body to look like changed drastically since you started lifting? Because when I look back, it's like I wanted abs. I literally didn't care about any other part of my body. I just wanted abs. And then it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
now I want muscle, but I want to be lean. And it's like, no, okay, now I want to be like kind of curvy and have muscle, and I also want to be healthy. It's like it all changes as you go through the process, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I definitely think when I started, I wanted to be as big as humanly possible. There
Mm,
was a time in my life I thought the only thing I cared about was I want to be as big and as strong as possible. That is what my day consisted around. I
yeah,
didn't actually, once I got past that abs stage, I just cared about being big. That's all I wanted. I
yeah.
was eating, 5.5, 6,000 calories a day. I was a lot heavier at the time. I was about 119, 120 kilos, training most days.
Mm,
And don't get me wrong, I was strong, but, you know, there's a trade-off. There's a big trade-off with your lifestyle, what you
mhm.
do, wasn't balanced. And then now I would say I'm a lot more, I would say I want to be big, strong, and functional.
Yeah,
For me, and healthy, health
yeah,
as well. Definitely didn't prioritize health, being 18, 19, 20. But now I'm a lot more conscious of it, actively getting my steps in, regardless of what season of goals I'm in. Just staying healthy is huge.
yeah. It's funny because when you've been in the industry for a while, you see people go through the whole process. And like I know because I've done it myself, I've watched other people come through it, and it's like now, for instance, I went to the gym this morning and my warm up took me like 40 minutes because I'm like, "Ah, I've got a front squat. I actually don't want to get injured. Like I'm trying to sort out some injuries. I'm like, I will spend now like 40 minutes warming up. Whereas there'll be a time in my life where I just go in and crack on. And if I hurt myself, I'd be like, oh, well, so what? I don't know.
It's absolutely crazy. I definitely think that's something that changes warm up, like prolonged warm up, how long you
Yes.
spend to warm up.
Yeah.
I find it's classic. Any upper body day, I'm that guy with the light red band, just doing all those like shoulder dislocates, just making sure I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
So you don't get classic, left shoulder pain when you're
I
pressing.
know.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's crazy. But I know what you mean. Like there's people that come in, you know, even with the bar and like, let's say you're squatting or benching or deadlifting. I don't know about you, but I always start with the bar every time.
Yeah.
Every
After
time I
like a
start.
half an hour warm up, because, mate, if I
Yeah,
try to squat with a bar, just walk into the gym, you see people do it, walk into the gym, squat straight away. I'm like, oh my God, who are you? I'm like,
yeah.
my body won't do that. It just
What are
won't.
these joints made of? It's
It's
crazy.
like I need to warm myself up first. Nah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think as well with like with benching particularly, I see guys they come in and try throwing a 20 straight away, and
Yeah.
my brain just my shoulder would just
No. It's
go. I
horrific.
couldn't,
No.
I couldn't. It's
No.
absolutely crazy.
Oh my
Do you
goodness.
notice with do you notice with regards to like, the gym now and the gym back when you started? It's
Mm.
a bit of a random question, but do you notice your friends have changed?
What, from when I
Like,
started?
yeah, like who you like, just kind of who you hang around with, how, the kind of like circle of friends that you have. Do you have the same, girls or guys, or is it like a different circle?
Yeah. I guess my friendship groups have been a weird one because they've changed a lot over the years depending on where I've been. Like I have never stayed in touch with people really from school or like even uni. Like I have friends but not friends that I'm really close with. I think I've only really made my closest friends like later in life. So I don't know if it's to do with the gym or just to do with everything else. It's quite hard to say. But
Yeah, it's so interesting because I find that, similar to what you're saying there at school and uni, I
mm,
find that how there's that saying, I'm paraphrasing here, but you know how it's like you're the average of the five people you spend
yeah.
the most time with.
Yeah.
I find that just kind of the more you become involved in fitness, your friends sort of you just get even me and you just now.
Mm,
I didn't know you 10 years ago.
no, yeah.
It's just you meet different people, you start hanging out with different people. Um, I would say mine definitely have changed, but not necessarily that I don't like anyone I used to hang out with.
Yeah.
It's just that your goals are different and you want to do different things. And
Yeah.
I would say, alcohol has a lot to do with that. I'm all for having a night out and a drink and have a laugh, but I do it so rarely these days.
Same,
It's
yeah.
just not, the thought of going out every weekend, getting
Mm,
super drunk, waking up the next day and just feeling rough all day, that just doesn't appeal to me. Whereas a lot of people it does. I would
yeah.
much rather get to bed at 10 at night, get up at 6, have a coffee, do my workout, and I feel amazing. But that's just, everyone's different and I respect both sides of it.
Yeah.
It's just, doing what you want to do, I suppose.
No, I'm exactly the same as that. I think your friends do start to like, come around what you're actually doing more. And the gym is actually a really nice place to meet people as well because you've already got that common interest. It's like you know that you guys are going to probably gel pretty well. And then it just depends
Yeah,
whether or not. For
you've already
me,
got that
I
down.
don't know about you, but for me, it's like if the way that I become really good friends with someone is if I say I meet them in the gym, but they have to have like more about them because there are certain people, friends that you might make in the gym, but they're just your gym friends. Like all you talk about is the gym and like that's it. But my closest friends,
Yeah.
like you have to have more about you in your life for me to become really close because quite frankly, where I train and it's my job, when I'm not doing it, I don't want to talk about the gym. Like to anyone. I don't want to speak
Yeah.
about it. I want like everything else, in the world other than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree. And it's funny you say that because me and my flatmate, he's a PT as well,
Mm.
and we'll come home and we'll hang out in the evening, and we do not talk about the gym.
No.
We don't want to talk about RPE and programming and mesocycles. I'm just, fuck that. I can't. I'm done.
No.
I'm done.
Absolutely not.
You know.
Yeah. No,
For sure.
100%.
I think that's just something as well. You know, like, yeah, that's absolutely crazy. It's just crazy how your perception changes over time with all these things, gym and just lifestyle. And I'd say that's something that the last few years particularly, I've paid more attention to it.
Yeah.
But it's a cool thing. I think it's cool to, acknowledge that. And the people that you don't hang around with, it's not that you don't like them, it's just your different interests.
Yeah, absolutely. No, nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think we should end it on you had this idea. I think it's great. Cringy DMs. Sorry, that's such a tangent to go off on, but let's just do it, and then it'll wrap up this podcast real nice. So,
sweet. How long have we been on for?
An hour and 5 minutes.
Oh,
it's gone really quick.
What?
I know. So
this has been fun though. I've liked this. It's good. It's good. I like the vibe.
Yeah, we'll do another one. We'll definitely. We haven't even covered half of what we planned, so I think we have to do another one.
I'm looking at the list and I'm just like, whoa, we've got loads here.
I know.
That's cool. We can do them next time.
Yeah,
that's cool. Right, cringy DMs. Would you like to go first?
Oh, I don't know. It's I feel like I've had quite a lot of cringy DMs over the years.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I had a guy quite recently actually who sent me a DM. It was he sent me quite a few DMs to be honest, but I didn't reply to anything because it was weird.
Okay.
And he said, I can't remember exactly how he worded it. Huh?
Was it just setting in the message requests?
Oh yeah, obviously. Sometimes though you can look at the message request, but they don't know that you've opened it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I just sometimes I'm curious and I'm like, oh, what's that? He said something about me. He was like, you're high up in the. No, you're on a pedestal high up in the stratosphere, and it went off like that, and I was like, what the hell is this guy on about? He's so weird.
What is going on?
Oh, I've actually got a better one, sorry. I got hit on by a footballer. Hilarious.
A pro footballer?
An actual pro footballer. Oh my god, this was ages ago, and I can't remember what his name is because I'm not even into football, but I've really put him back in his box and it was great. I'm going to try and find this whilst you tell your story.
That is good gossip if you can find that. That's
I'm going to try. What's your cringiest DM whilst I'm looking for this? Because I've definitely screenshotted this whenever it happened.
So I do have a cringiest DM that I've received, and it actually wasn't a DM, it was actually a text. I don't know how someone got my number.
Oh.
And yeah, so I do have it screenshotted, and when I have this conversation with someone, I pull this one up because I have to type a specific word into my WhatsApp for it to come up.
Okay.
So one night I was going to bed, and my girlfriend was out, and it was 11 o'clock at night, and I was just like, oh, she was meant to be back about 11, and I just checked my phone just to make sure she was back okay, caring boyfriend, okay?
Yeah, very much so. And
I go to bed and I've got a text from a random person, and I click on it, and my eyes just were they were half sleeping, and I just went I've got it here, but I honestly I can't even
oh my god, tell me, I want to know.
I genuinely can't even read it on this because it's so, I guess vulgar would be the word.
Please read it. I want to see.
But I looked at it's really I'll send you as a message. It's not podcast appropriate. But it was funny, but I was just like, oh my goodness. And you'll see the word that I typed to find it.
Okay.
Have you found that footballer one?
I found it. This was years ago. Years ago. 2016. Are you into football?
Okay.
Are you into football? No.
I suck. I probably won't even know the name.
No, because I didn't.
Would you like to say the name?
Fellaini.
Okay.
Is that? I don't know what his last name is.
That's, yeah.
Yeah. This is how I know nothing about football. Yeah.
2016?
Yeah, he slid into the DMs.
What did he say?
Okay. So he goes, "Do you have WhatsApp? It's better to talk there." And I was like, I don't tend to give my number to like random men, even if you are a famous footballer. He goes, "It's fine, it's easier to talk there, that's why." And I said, "Shouldn't you be playing football or something?" And then he goes, "Send your number and we talk there." Like really adamant about this. Um, oh my God. And then oh, hang on, it's frozen. Are you still there?
Yeah,
Oh no.
is this guy? Is he? I don't want to get it wrong, but is he like Belgium?
I have no
From
idea.
Belgium?
Maybe.
I suck at football, but I know the name. And if it's the person I'm thinking of, it is.
Okay,
That's mental.
maybe.
So what happened after that? That was just case closed, shot down.
And he kept going. Send your number and we talk there. Um,
What? What's
and then eventually I ended
This
up
are
saying
weird.
this went on for a while, and then I eventually just said, "Do most girls fall at your feet because you're famous?" And he didn't reply. Just breaking this one up because Pete and I had some technical issues at the end of this podcast. So unfortunately, the whole podcast very abruptly ended. So what I'm going to do is put Pete's information, his Instagram, and everything in the description below. Thank you so much for listening. And I shall see you next week.